Let's try this for the third time. I don't know what the issue is, but hopefully we get him on this time and he can hear us. We can see him. Let's invite him. Let's go. Make sure you say something when you get on here so I know you're here. Let's try this again. What's up, everybody? This is Dan the Waterman. We'll be going live with Paul Douglas hopefully here in a minute. We've been having some technical difficulties, not really sure what the issue is, but I think it's because he's in Canada and I'm in the furthest state that I could possibly be from. I'm in Florida, so I don't know if that's the issue or not. Inviting. Paul Douglas is here, but we can't see him for some reason. I don't know what the problem is. We both have good reception. I'll be having a studio here pretty soon, I think, where I can do this at home. The problem is I have 4 kids, 6 and under, and I want you guys to actually be able to hear me. So if I'm at home, that's not going to happen. Come on, Paul. I'm inviting you again. Let's go. Who else is on here? Who wants to go live right now? Let's go. Let's talk about entrepreneurship. Let's talk about your business. Let's talk about who you are, what you do. Who wants to go live? Come on. I'll try again, Paul. I'm trying for you, man. People want to know the industry giant. They want to know who you are. But if we can't hear you and can't see you, it's not going to work. I'll keep inviting. If Paul can't go live, who wants to go live? Who's here? Come on, let's go. Chavez, you want to go live, man? I don't know why I can't get Paul on here. We've been trying for 20 minutes. It's not working. Hamad, you want to go live? John, you want to go live? Oh, hold on. We might have him. There he is. After 20 minutes, we gotcha.
Remember what I said earlier today about technology hates you, have a backup?
Absolutely. I was trying to get a backup. I have a backup, Mike Chavez. So if we get dropped, Chavez is coming on.
All right, Chavez. Awesome. All right.
So who are you and what do you do? Let's talk about the industry giant, Paul Douglas.
Well, the industry giant is a serial entrepreneur. Right from the time I was 14 to now that I'm 50. Currently, went from being a retired carpet cleaner to publisher, digital marketer, consultant, coach, public speaker. Basically, anything I can do to go out and provide a high level of service to others and create a lot of value and have a ton of fun doing it. That's who I am.
So tell us about the publishing aspect of your business. I know you're a publisher because we've been talking about my book quite a bit.
Yeah, we've been talking about your book. Basically what we do with the publishing side of things, Dan, is I kind of fell into publishing, for lack of better words. Almost 3 years ago, I was chatting online with Facebook Messenger with a friend of mine. He might actually be on this live right now. And we were constantly, chatting and talking about how to optimize a website. And we would go to a website and we would pick it apart and we would be talking about this needs to be done and that needs to be done. And he was sitting down one day. He says, we should write a book together. And I said, you know what, we should. And I'd actually just purchased a course on writing a book like days before that, if that. And Rob and I sat down, and Rob lives in what I affectionately refer to as Pennsylvania, that hillbilly region between Philly and Pittsburgh. And we collaborated on the book by using Google Hangouts. And we went from concept to number one bestseller, because we got bestseller status in the United States over the Thanksgiving weekend of 2014. We had bestseller here in Canada the following week, as well as Australia and Japan. And we did that in 60 days.
So in 60 days, you went from scratch to 4 countries number one best-selling author, huh?
That's correct. Now,
That's awesome.
Am I a best-selling author now? Not at all. I think I rank somewhere in the 250,000 range. But I didn't. I did this mainly for two reasons. One is, it's all about positioning now. I mean, it's that you're going to write a best-selling book, retire on a beach, and sip fruity drinks with umbrellas. Forget it. It's not going to happen anymore. But writing and publishing a book is all about positioning yourself in your market as an expert. In fact, if you were going to launch any kind of business right now, I would tell anybody that comes to me as a consultant, I would say, before you do anything, write a book. And it's really quite simple. I've got one back here. You can see I have a rather extensive library. But here's the most recent one we did. I don't know if you can see it, but this is actually
Lisa.
This is Lisa, Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy. She became a client of ours last fall, and part of the package we put together for her was that we would help her publish a book, and we got her to bestseller in Canada, Germany, Italy, and I think we got number 2 bestseller in the United States. And we launched on New Year's Eve.
That's how we met, is through Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy.
Yep. But, because of that first book that I wrote with Rob, I had an opportunity to speak in front of a bunch of public or professional speakers about 2 years ago. It was in September of 2015. And it was essentially what we were there to do is we were there to, as a 1-day seminar on how to write a book. And I wanted a case study for this particular event. And so I talked to my chiropractor when I got this invitation. And I said, and I'll give you a backstory here. All summer with my chiropractor, he was struggling to write a ebook to give away as link bait on his website, which I think if you're doing that now, you know what, that's kind of old school. That's so 2012. Don't give away ebooks. Nobody wants to give up their email address for an ebook anymore. But he struggled all summer, and I was getting very frustrated because nothing was happening. And so I sat down with him one day and I said, Ryan, I need a case study for this event. I'm talking to all these professional speakers on how to write a book, and I want to show how they can go from an idea to number 1 best-selling author in 30 days or less. Well, we missed that target. It took us about 75, 76 days to get him done. He tends to overthink things. But he wrote the book. It's Not Your Fault That You've Been Lied To, and it's basically written about our health industry and the concepts that people use for longevity. We went to #1 bestseller with that, as I said, from concept to bestseller in 75 days. And later this month, I will be releasing our most recent book, and that is everything, what every Canadian should know about mortgages from A to Z. And that'll be
And when
released.
does that come out later this month?
That's coming out later this month.
So out of all the things you do, whether it's publishing or being a Google bully, what is your favorite career? What is your favorite path as far as your entrepreneurship goes?
To be honest, I have the most fun with the books. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing videos and video marketing, which is actually part of the process in developing a book. I enjoy building websites and creating. You know, my idea of success and my definition of success, and it's different for everybody, but my definition of success is to provide a ton of value serving other people and have a whole lot of fun while
Yep.
you're doing it. And there is nothing I do that isn't fun. You know, in fact, if it's not fun, I tend not to do it. So I enjoy everything that I do, but if you know what gives me the biggest drive, I guess, or the most satisfaction is watching somebody, you know, realize that they just got #1 bestseller and they're crying with joy and pride because they thought when we started on this journey that there's no way they can do this, that it could not be done. And to see that happen and to see that growth in that individual that I'm working with to, you know, getting past the writer's block, getting past the fear, getting past their own self-doubts and smashing through all those barriers and then creating for them this finished product where they now have something that, you know, they have the title, I'm a #1 best-selling author. And it doesn't matter where your book is from this point on, doesn't matter where it is in the future, you're always a #1 best-selling author.
Yep.
And,
So
you know,
do you think that a lot of people want to write books, but they're just scared to start? They're scared of the failure of it. They're scared not to succeed.
I think fear stops a lot of people from doing a lot of things now.
Yep.
And, you know, fear is, and I mean, there's all kinds of definitions. I mean, you know, fear has been described as false expectations appearing real. But at the time you're feeling that fear, it's very, very real. And it will hold you in limbo if you allow it to. You know, the best way to get past any kind of fear is to face it and smash through it and just realize that it's not fatal, usually.
It's not fatal. That's true. Absolutely.
No, usually. I mean, it, you know,
So what would you recommend for someone that wants to start a book? Ken Walls, he just commented, I'm on chapter 4 of my book. So for someone that wants to start a book, like my title of my book is Mastering Millennials, which we've talked about. We're going to get started very soon. But what would you say someone's first step is for wanting to start a book or write a book?
Well, don't write. You see,
Okay.
here's the thing I recommend to everybody. You know, when you're writing, and I wish I had a pen with me right now, but there's a disconnect that goes from here to your fingers, right, to the paper. We call that writer's block.
Yep.
And that's what stops everybody. Now, two things happens when you're doing this. One, you're not really channeling, or very rarely do you channel from your brain, from your unconscious mind, if you will, to that paper or to that screen on the desktop or the laptop. Because you're using your conscious mind, you're using your thoughts. Secondly, as we do that, we tend to self-edit. And so we go through it and we go, this is crap, and we tear it apart.
Right.
And we rip it up. We take, you know, picture the stereotypical writer from the, before we had desktop publishing and word processors. They would be sitting there banging away on a keyboard or on a typewriter, and they'd rip out the paper, ball it up, and toss it into the garbage can. What I tell people, the best and simplest way to create any content, and you can use this for blog posts, web pages, anything you're using online, even writing a book, is, we have the tool. Matter of fact, I have the tool I use right now in my hand as we're talking to you, and that's my cell phone or a video camera or my webcam. Turn that on, and I noticed Ken here talks about, meditating prior to writing, and that is awesome. And what you want to meditate on is, who is that ideal person that you want to share your message with? Who is that person? Who is that individual? What is their fears? What keeps them up at night? What bothers them? What is the message you want to give that individual? And you want to get that very, very clear in your mind. And then I will turn on the camera and I will start performing. Now, I'll back up a bit. You want to start with an outline. That I always write out, because I want to have, my ideas in place as I share that. And I want to make sure that I cover everything in each chapter as I share that. But I will start performing, much like I'm doing right now. This is something we discussed the other day, is when we're done with this video today, you can go out and there's a service called Blvd.com that will transcribe this entire video for $1 per minute. So if we've got a 35-minute conversation here, you now have, for $35, you can have the entire thing transcribed. So, and that is exactly what Rob and I did for our book. We created that outline. We had the outline in front of us. We set up a Google Hangout, simply because, again, Rob's in Pennsylvania. I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. So I'm 60 miles, north of the North Dakota border, and I'm right smack dab in the middle of North America. When you think geographically, from the bottom of Mexico to the North Pole, East Coast, West Coast, I'm right smack dab in the middle. There's 3,000 miles between, or 2,000 miles between Rob and I. We collaborated on a Google Hangout, and we took the recordings and we sent them to Rev, and they sent it all back. I mean, it was like $186 to transcribe a little over 3 hours of content that we compiled into our book. And of course, there was a lot of other things we did, but we were able to get it done that fast. And I know people using the exact same technique that have had a book written in less than a weekend. It was a crap book because the editing was awful, but they were published in 3 days.
Wow. So Mike Chavez just said, I have 135 days of video that I want to transcribe. Where does he even start with that? What video would you say is important to get transcribed first versus some of the other stuff he has?
Well, I would go through every one of those videos and I would pull out the 10 to 15 best that he has. Transcribe those. Because here's the cool thing, and this is something I mentioned to you the other day with the Entrepreneur Boulevard. You've got all these interviews that you're going to be working on and developing and creating over the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months.
Yep.
And you can take the best of the best interviews, get them transcribed, actually get them all transcribed and turn them into blog posts for the website. Then you got the live video, you've got the audio that you can use as a podcast, you've got the actual conversation that we're having as a transcript or a blog post, if you will. So you have multiple forms of content from one piece of content that we're creating right now, and that's the video that we're doing through this live presentation. The best thing that I would suggest to Mike Chavez is to take the 10 to 15 best that he has and, convert it into his book. Again, I'm going to go back and put on my co-author and partner, Rob, again. And Rob Onspach, if you're listening, type in and say hi. But His second book that followed up the one that we did together was called Lessons from the Dojo. And this is actually from his business blog. And he took I think the top 20 blog posts that he made in a year, and he compiled it into his book. He's also helped other authors put together. He's done 3 books for a gastric surgeon in Mexico. So the concept works. It's sound and it works. And what I love about the fact of being a published author, when I go and meet a new client, whether I'm there to talk to them about reputation management, which, by the way, the next book that I'm working on for myself is actually titled "Screwed by Reviews," and I should have that out hopefully by the end of July. And it's about reputation management. So if I'm going to go see somebody about reputation management, I'm going to hand them a book. Oh, Charlene Mash Hadlow. She's my former sales manager back when I had a real job. She's on this now. Way to go. Anyways, when I go and sit
What's up,
and see
Charlene?
I'm going to hand them a book. I don't give anybody a business card. And the reason I do that is when you publish a book, and by the way, you can upload your book files to CreateSpace, which is an Amazon company. And I order a box of 50 at a time. Now, it doesn't do anything for your bestseller rankings or status. However, I have them as my $4 business cards. Because that's I get 50 books sent to my door for about $200, and they're my new business card. And I'm going to give everybody here the $1 million key to the kingdom. Everything that I've said, earlier, that success is creating massive value, serving others, and having fun doing it. I'm going to show you how you can get past every single gatekeeper that's been holding you back from seeing your ideal client. Would you like to know what that is?
Absolutely love it.
Okay. What about the audience? Would they like to know that? How many people we still got? We got 5 people watching this. Okay. The 5 people are going to get the keys to the kingdom today. The best way I know to get past a gatekeeper is with a book. So think about this for a second. Make a list of everybody that you want to get in and see, all the decision makers that you want to see. And what I would do is I would go to Amazon and buy a copy of your book. That's why I like pricing books as low as you can, because again, it's not about the royalties. It's about the exposure and the credibility and the positioning. And you'll get your royalty on that. So, and if you use your affiliate link, you'll get an affiliate commission. So that'll discount it for you. But at checkout, you can ship it to anybody you want in the world. So you send it to Mr. or Ms. Prospect. Okay. And in fact, you know what, Charlene, I'm going to pick on you. I know that you're not a buyer at Fresney, but I want to sit down and I want to get a meeting with Charlene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Amazon. I'm going to buy a copy of the book that Rob and I wrote. And at checkout, I'm going to ship it to Charlene, where she works, which is Dufresne Printer Appliance in Winnipeg. I'm going to send it as a gift. I'm going to have it gift wrapped. And when you send it as a gift, you also get a gift card where you can customize whatever message that you want to give that individual. And I would then, on this gift card, say, hey, Charlene, I've thought this book would be of great value to you. I've got a great idea, particularly on page 68, that might help you with a problem you're facing right now in your business. In fact, if you go to this link, I shot a quick video about what you can do to take care of that. And then I would include the link to the video that I shot. I would then have it shipped to Charlene. Now, when it arrives at that store, whether Charlene's there or not, I guarantee you, because it's a gift, nobody is going to open that up on her. Nobody in their right mind is going Oh no. When did I lose you?
Keep going. You're good. You only froze for like a split second.
All right. So now we've got this present sitting on Charlene's desk. First thing she's going to want to know is who sent me this gift. I'm going to look at the gift card. She may not, go to the video. She may go to page 68 or whichever other page I directed to her. But think about the power of this right now. If
Cheers.
you ever read the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, we've just created a massive piece of reciprocity here. We gave her something for nothing. We dumped it on her lap. We bypassed the gatekeeper that's going to, stop us from doing anything. She now has my website address in front of her, my email address in front of her, my in front of her, and my gift in front of her. Do you think I may have now separated myself from everybody else in this industry from getting down and having an appointment with her?
Absolutely.
Okay. So anybody watching this, if they want to position themselves above their competitors and get in front of their ideal customers, then buy a book and ship it to them. Or buy your book when you're at a networking event and give it away. Because I promise you, business cards, I have a stack of them right here. And that's what business cards end up. They get bundled up, they get put in a drawer, they get wrapped up with elastic bands, they get forgotten. Maybe one or two get followed up on. And I'm a big believer of follow up. Dan, you know that. I've been pestering you since February. But business cards get bundled up together. Books get put in a shelf. They're there. They're always read. It's going to give you the authority you need to separate yourself from your competitors. And that's the biggest reason why I got into publishing.
So what made you do, or what makes you do what you do? Why are you in the industry that you're in?
Probably because I'm unemployable. Just ask Charlene. She'll tell you. I've always been someone that always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to have my own business. When I was 5 years old, people asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I said, "I want to be a farmer." And then I realized later in life that I can clean carpets and I don't have to work as hard to be broke. Because there's a lot of work in farming. But I've always wanted to be independent. I think the biggest influence that I had on that, as far as being an entrepreneur, was my mother. If you think back now in the 1970s, I was 7 years old at the time, so this was 43 years ago. My mother found herself a single mom of 4 kids and a divorcee at a time when that really wasn't a stylish thing to be. There was a lot of shame in that. It was very simple and easy at that time for a single mom with 4 kids to, be part of the system, to get social assistance or welfare. But that wasn't who my mom was. She wasn't that then. She isn't that now. She's going to be 80 years old this year. And she is still teaching piano and music out of her home, just like she did 43 years ago. And something that I've always admired about her, she tried getting a real job. It didn't work. She's a certified teacher. She's a very well-educated woman. She tried to get a real job. She was out of the classroom, I guess, too long, and it really wasn't her passion. And it was 40 years ago this month in June that she bought a business, if you will. There was the house that she's in now. The woman that owned it before her was a piano teacher. She taught piano in that house. Her husband got transferred 1,000 miles away, to a city called Edmonton in Alberta, which is just above Montana. And Mom bought the house with the idea of taking over her business and taking over her students. So Mom became an entrepreneur mainly because she had to find a way to support 4 kids, and she did it. She become a very successful teacher. and she's still doing what she loves every single day. And she was the biggest influence on me in becoming an entrepreneur because I love the freedom that she has in that she was able to work at home and take care of her 4 kids. And I was the oldest at 7. My youngest brother, I think, was 1.5, 2 at the time. And she was able to stay home and not put us into daycare and earn a very comfortable living as a music teacher. And I am so proud of my mother for what she was able to do. And she's been the biggest influence in my life. And this is probably the biggest reason why I do what I do, because I love serving others. I love creating value. But the reality, too, is I also love getting paid. I mean, I had a mentor about 20 years back who defined the purpose of business is to support your ideal lifestyle.
Yep.
I'm not going to support my ideal lifestyle working retail anymore. It's just not going to happen. So the reason I do what I do, it's a lot of fun, and it makes me a very good living.
That's awesome, man. So one of the questions, can you hear me okay? Because it is literally pouring where I'm at. So the audio, I'm having trouble hearing you. So I hope Mike says that he can hear you.
No,
Hope that
I
continues.
can hear you fine.
Okay, good.
Sunny Manitoba for you.
Yeah, it's not so sunny in Florida right now. It's 6:50, and it's every single day around this time it starts pouring in the summer. So I'm working on getting a studio set up in my office so I can do this, not necessarily in my house because I have 4 kids all under 6, and they'd be a lot louder than this rain is right now. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, because I was very curious of your answer, if you could talk to anybody or spend time with anybody in history, who would it be and why?
Genghis Khan.
Why? Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. I mean, think about it. Here's a man, when he was a young boy, witnessed his father being murdered, ended up killing his older brother in self-defense because his older brother was trying to kill him, and essentially grew up as a slave and became the leader and basically the ruler of one of the largest empires in human history. And when you think about it, I mean, the Mongol Empire basically went all across Asia.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was the Turks that stopped the Mongol, his son Ogaday Khan from going further west. And it was the kamikaze or the divine wind of a hurricane that stopped him from going into Japan because it sunk his fleet. Which, yeah, that's where the term kamikaze came from. It wasn't the airplanes hitting U.S. warships during the Second World War. It was this hurricane that sunk Genghis Khan's, actually, I think it was his son's, Ogaday Khan, fleet in the Sea of Japan. So for him to go and overcome all those obstacles, I mean, you think you and I have it tough trying to make payroll and rent at the end of the month. Come on. That's nothing compared to what he went through. And if I can learn just one little thing about how he was able to overcome all this adversity and create this massive empire, I would sit down for an hour. Of course, I do risk getting my head knocked off or cut off, but I think it would be worth the risk.
That's awesome, man. So if you were doing this interview, what kind of questions would you want to ask yourself?
Well, that's a good question. I guess one of the questions, and I wanted to share this with you, is the industry giant, because it talks about, it's a fun story. But so where I came up with the title industry giant actually came about 18 years ago. I was running my carpet cleaning business at the time, and one of our clients was a stay-at-home mom, and I hired Tara not because she was an exceptional personal assistant. I hired her because she was a rabid fan of the service that we provided, and I figured any shortcomings in being a personal assistant would be overcome by her enthusiasm. And I called in one day after I completed one of our jobs and just to check on messages and see what's happening. And she says, Paul, you're going to kill me. I said, oh, why is that? I said, well, this woman called. I says, okay. And she wanted to know how you measured up to the finer carpet cleaners in the city, like Apple Carpet Cleaning. And I can say Apple Carpet Cleaning now; they've long since closed. But I said, okay, well, what did you tell her? I said, well, that's why you're going to kill me. He says, I was so flustered she would say something like that or ask something like that that all I can do is just say, I'm going to have to get Paul to call you. I said, okay. No, that's why you're going to kill me. This is, I forgot to get her name and number. And I started laughing. And she goes, that's not funny. I says, Tara, think about it. I'm 6'6". I'm 350 pounds. How I measure up to them? I tower over them. I'm the industry giant. And I was like, whoa, that was an aha moment. And that's, I think the lesson I want to share there is you don't know where inspiration is going to come, but when it comes, jump on it and grab it. I've used it for the last 18 years. Except for when I was selling furniture. They wouldn't let me do that, right? Right, Shirley? But when inspiration comes, use it. And I mean, I did the same thing when I created my USP. I sat down one night, it was bugging me, and I went across the street from the house I was living in. There was a donut shop, and I grabbed a whole bunch of coffee and they make the best carrot cake ever with cream cheese icing. And I brought a full pack of cigarettes with me, and I sat down with a legal pad and I just wrote down every idea that came to my head for about an hour. I went through about a half a pack of cigarettes, 2 carrot cakes, 3 cups of coffee. And I came up with a USP for my carpet cleaning business where only the equipment is high pressure. I was really at a very strong hate on anybody that was using bait and switch marketing techniques and high pressure sales techniques and surprising people at the end with an oversized bill. And when I talk to anybody and when I'm coaching the clients now about creating something, that's what I tell you. Just sit down. Oh, how do we get paused?
Not sure. We can still hear you, though. Still there? Paul, you still there?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still here. I guess I got a message pop up here, and it's okay. I have my producer in the background that sent me a text giving me some instructions. My producer, by the way, is my wife, Lisa. Anyway, the point I was trying to get at is write down every idea and then start combining them if you want to get creative, because that's where you're going to get everything dumped out. Just dump everything out. And that's where the creativity comes in.
So, to wrap up, what kind of advice would you give young entrepreneurs that are kind of just getting started, not really sure what they want to do, just know that they want to be an entrepreneur? What kind of advice would you give them?
If someone was just starting out, I would tell them get started. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let money hold you back. Don't let lack of knowledge hold you back. Get started. Money is something that can be created. It's not a real thing. It's an idea. And cash flow is created when you go out and sell shit. So go out and sell some shit. The best skill that the biggest skill I would tell anybody is to go and learn how to sell.
Yep.
You're going to be selling your ideas. You're going to be selling investors. You're going to be selling suppliers. You're going to be selling customers. You're going to be selling family members. You're going to be selling your entire life. You need to learn how to sell. That's probably the best skill that anybody can take on if they're starting out. Learn how to sell. That's probably the biggest skill anyone needs if they want to be successful. The second thing is The world right now is constantly changing. I mean, with your business, Dan, do you use Facebook ads at all?
I don't really. I will start though.
Well, that's up to you. I mean, if it's going to deliver your message to your market, yes, use it. If it's not going to deliver your message to the market, don't. You're just making Zuckerberg more money.
Yep.
Uh, and I mean that's one of the mistakes a lot of people make when it comes to marketing is they pick the vehicle to deliver the message, and then they try to figure out, okay, well, what type of message should I use on this vehicle, and who do I send it to?
Yep.
Uh, you
A
know,
perfect example that one of my sales reps, he decided that he wanted to advertise in a local magazine, and it's $850 a month, and he's gotten zero phone calls from it. So there's one of two issues with that. Number one, it was the wrong ad, which it didn't attract the people that were in that specific neighborhood. Or number two, that publication wasn't right for what product he's trying to sell.
yeah, because if you're going to if you're going to do any kind of marketing, and I know that's one of my passions. The secret of an effective campaign is to put the right offer in front of the right person at the right time.
Yep.
And again, this is something you can learn a number of different ways. You can do it the hard way, like your rep did. You spend $850 to realize that either his message that's in that magazine is not working, or that the people that read the magazine are not the best market, or that the magazine is not the best vehicle to deliver that message. Uh, that's the hard way. The best way that you can fast track this is to learn from other people's experience. And that's going back to your question. Yes, sales is probably one skill that everyone should have. The second thing that everybody who's starting out should be wanting to do is to have a strong thirst for knowledge. When I got up this morning, I got up at 6 o'clock my time. The first thing I did after grabbing my coffee and sitting down in my lazy boy here is I fired up my laptop and I started watching videos from the traffic and conversion conference that was back in March. Constantly feeding my brain, constantly adding to my knowledge, constantly upping my skills.
Yep.
So someone starting out, my suggestion to them is one, learn how to sell, and two, keep upgrading your skills. Because you will not know it all. You'll never know it all.
Yep.
But you will keep learning.
And learn from the people that have been there and done that. A lot of these people that follow, Grant Cardone, Brad Lee, a lot of people that are very, very successful entrepreneurs, they've been there, done that. So when you listen to people that have been where you're at currently, you can learn a lot of valuable information from them. So one of the books I'm reading right now is Relentless by Tim Grover. He was at the 10X Growth Con down in Miami. And it's just phenomenal. I could go on and on about the book itself. But so the point is number one, learn how to sell, right? And number two, continue to gain knowledge. Is that right?
Absolutely. You want to overcome a competitor, outsmart them by learning
Yep.
more. And that's why you look at, why is Walmart getting their butt kicked by Amazon?
Amazon's smarter than Walmart.
Yeah. But why is Amazon and eBay even smaller than Alibaba?
Well, they don't have the product at the store. They don't have a physical location.
No. But I mean, if you look at Alibaba, I mean, I'm trying to remember the name of the CEO. He kind of looks like Tweety Bird. But I mean, he's a very brilliant businessman. But if you look at his story, he started as a teacher. He failed as a teacher, but he had a dream, and he never let it go. And he became. I mean, Alibaba is the largest retailer in the world right now.
Yep.
And they dwarf Amazon and eBay. In fact, you can find products on Alibaba that you can sell on Amazon and eBay. As a matter of fact, I do that myself.
Yep. A lot of people do that.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is, just because you finish school does not mean you finish learning. Always be learning. Always be asking, how can I do this better? what makes this better? How can I do this, deliver this faster, cheaper, more effectively than the other guy? Okay. How can I take a problem this person has or our customers have? How can we fix that? That is probably the most important skill an entrepreneur can develop, is to have that inquisitive mind.
Yep, 100% agree with you. So before we get off, do you have anything else you'd like to add? Any questions from the audience?
Well, let's see. We got what looks like we've got Mike and Jason left. Guys, you got anything you'd like to ask?
Nope. Okay. So, Paul, I appreciate it. The industry giant. I look forward to getting my book going with you. I promise it will be sooner rather than later. Keep following up. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you soon.
Well, don't wait too long. Price keeps going up with each one I publish.
That's what I hear. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, sir.
All right. You have yourself a good night.